Hi, welcome to Women's Health and Hormones, the wisdom of essential oils in balancing women's hormones. My name is Amanda Brumel. I am a holistic health coach. I was certified at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition back in 2005, and I have been working with clients ever since. My areas of specialty are with digestion, mood support, mental health, and hormones, because those are all the things that I have worked on in my own health. So I am very happy to have you here. This is one of my favorite topics to discuss because it can be such an enigma. I am now in my 40s, so I am dealing with a different kind of hormonal imbalance than I was dealing with in my 20s and 30s. And it is something that I firmly believe does not have to be an unpleasant experience. I think because of the culture, we're trained to believe that unpleasant symptoms are normal, and normal isn't necessarily good. Normal just means a lot of people have them, but it doesn't mean that's how we should feel or that's how we have to feel. There's actually the possibility of feeling better than we ever thought was possible if we take some very specific steps in creating and cultivating health in our bodies, because our bodies are wise. Our bodies already know how to be healthy, how to get back into homeostasis and balance. It's just a matter of us moving and getting rid of all the things that might be interfering with our body's internal knowledge. So we have to remove some of those interferers, get rid of the interference so that our body can get back to what they know how to do, which is to heal ourselves. So if you are watching the replay, you're always welcome to send me a direct message. You can find me on Facebook, Amanda Brumel. My last name is Broomell. You can also send me an email at Amanda at realessentialalchemy.com. You can find me on Instagram also at Amanda Brumel. Feel free to send me questions that you have. If anything does not get answered from this presentation, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. So those of you who are here live, I will be answering your questions in the chat as we go along. So please feel free to pop questions in there, because if you have the question, probably other folks have the question as well. So please do us that, give us that gift of your question, because someone may be not as, you know, bold to ask. And then if there is anything private that you wish to ask me, not on a recording, I will end the recording, at the end, and you can ask me those questions privately. All right, here we go. So to start, let's just get a baseline assessment of how we feel on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, I feel great. I don't even know what you're talking about. Menopause, who? That's 1. No unwanted symptoms. My periods are great. PMS, I have never experienced PMS. 10 is like, PMS is my nemesis, and really do not appreciate when Aunt Flo visits. She's the worst. She's a crazy aunt that I do not want in my life anymore. Or maybe you're dealing with perimenopause, postmenopause. If there are things that you just feel like are completely out of your control, that would be a 10. So on the scale of 1 to 10, how is your monthly cycle if you are still on a cycle? Or if you are peri or postmenopause, how are your symptoms? And feel free to type in the chat where you are on that scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no unwanted symptoms, 10 being crazy, crazy. Let me know where you're at right now in the chat. And if you're watching, just make a note for yourself, because if you are say you're at a 9 and you have completely out of control symptoms, over time, we can help get that number down to an 8, and then a 7 and a 6, and maybe a 6 jumps to a 4. If you're kind of at the like 2 or 3 range and you're having some symptoms, but they're not completely gone, again, you can feel even better than you think that you can feel. So what areas of hormone balance are difficult for you? So you can pop that in the chat as well. If you're dealing with any sort of hyper or hypothyroid issues, maybe there's some adrenal fatigue. Are you having trouble managing your weight, whether it's gaining or losing weight? Mood swings, trouble sleeping? If you're trying to get pregnant, are you dealing with infertility, memory issues, brain fog, blood sugar imbalances? Okay, we have a 10 in the chat. Postmenopausal due to ovaries removed in 2019. Night sweats are horrendous. Yeah, I hear you. Thank you for sharing that. I see also that you've been using frankincense, lavender, eucalyptus, lemongrass. Those are some of your favorites, and you have a ton of others. What have you used? Have you used anything for your night sweats specifically? And are you using any supplementation or herbal remedies? I would love to know. All right, so just take either a mental note or take notes on your phone if you're watching this. Write down your notes in a journal if that works best for you. Just to keep track of what you're dealing with, because again, if you don't get specific answers for these issues, and because everybody's body is so different and their circumstances and their environment and their stress levels are so different, I can help you craft a specific 90-day plan that's for you. So that you can get the results that you're looking for based on you. Because there are suggestions that work for most people. And we can certainly start with just a generic kind of recommendation, but it's always best to get something specific for you. We have another postmenopause. Think it's a 1. That's great. But not sure if some of the crazies are hormonal or endocrine issues. Okay, so Tammy's not dealing with very many issues postmenopausal. That's great. But there could be some mood imbalance that is that could be attributed to postmenopausal symptoms. And if you're just joining us live or if you're watching the replay, we're just posting in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how are your hormonal symptoms right now? 1 being no symptoms, 10 being completely out of control, crazy. And if you are having any symptoms, what are they? Post those in the chat so I can be sure to address those specific things as we go along in the class. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I'm Amanda, and I'm going to share with you what I have learned in my last almost 2 decades of exploring natural remedies. I do believe in a holistic approach to health. So essential oils are a lot of times a missing link in women's healthcare. There's not enough information out there. There's a lot of sensationalized information. So I like to share these classes so people can get a very clear sense of what's real, what is the true science. And then when you have more of that informed perspective, you can make decisions for yourself based on what you feel is best for you. Because ultimately, everything I say is just lip service. Only you know what's best for your body. So take this information and education and use it in the way that's best for you. Any other questions that come up, pop them in the chat. So we've got the female reproductive system. And I venture to say you put this picture in front of, half the population and they will have no idea what this is, which is very sad. But this includes the ovaries, fallopian tubes, uterus, cervix, external genitalia, and breast. And it works with all the other systems in the body, especially the endocrine system. So the ovaries are what secrete estrogen and progesterone, which are critical for fertility, but also just for emotional and physical health as well. And nutrition and hydration play a big part in how we produce hormones in our body. Now, there are hormones produced by other glands in the body as well, and we're going to talk about how they all interact together. My phone. Okay, so I mentioned this in the beginning. Hormonal balance is your body's natural state. Our body is fighting for health and it's fighting for homeostasis. So we just need to give it the information and the nutrition that it needs to enhance and support the natural function, and also at the same time get rid of the interference. So when there are too many demands on your body, its ability to balance hormones is overwhelmed. So it could be stress, it could be emotional stress, it could be physical stress, it could be spiritual stress, energetic stress, what you're eating, what you're putting on your body, who you're around, the kind of job that you have. And this overwhelm in demand creates a hormonal imbalance that often peaks in perimenopause, because there's been decades before then of compacted stress and overwhelm, that suddenly the body says, you know what, I give up. If you're not going to listen to me and you're not going to listen to all the messages I'm sending you, I've been trying to tell you for decades, I don't feel good and you're not listening. And then the body suddenly is like, I give up. It feels too much. Even though it's trying so hard to keep up, it eventually just gets exhausted and gives out. So this peak, this hormonal imbalance peak, can give rise to those hot flashes and night sweats. And so if we can reduce the demand, and if we can reduce these outside stressors, it's much more likely that the body will be more in chill mode and be more cooperative with us, because it wants to be. It really does want to be. So we can experience hormonal imbalance really at any stage, and it's just your body's way of asking for help. It's sending you a message and it's begging you to listen. Hormones. Okay, we got a lot of hormones over here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but these are chemicals made in our glands, and we have some primary glands here. So if anybody in the spiritual world who's watching, let me know, pop that in the chat. If you know anything about chakras, you'll notice that the glands match up with our primary chakra points. So when you're working energetically, spiritually on your chakras, you're also influencing your hormone production. So they're inextricably linked. So anytime you work on emotional, spiritual health, you're also working on physical health, and vice versa. So, we have our thyroid gland here that's connected to our throat chakra, our thymus connected to our heart chakra. We have, here in the solar area, we have our stomach and we have our liver. So keep that in mind, that any work you're doing on your body is supporting your body overall. So if you're working on your pineal gland, for instance, and this is really your kind of third eye chakra, the pineal gland can get calcified. And this is the gland that produces melatonin, which can affect so many other hormones in the body. And it specifically affects sleep. So if your pineal gland gets calcified, meaning it's basically just clogged up from years and years of toxification, fluoride in your water, it could be energetic, stuckness, where we're not really seeing our clear path forward. We're not really honoring our truth about what we want to create in the world. And there can be a lot of stuck energy there, both energetically and physically. So pineal gland is one area where you can use essential oils to open up and expand and create more balance and fluidity in the gland. And the reason is essential oils are lipophilic, meaning basically fat. They can pass fat membranes, and your cell membranes are fat-based. So your cell will actually allow essential oils to penetrate through the membrane and enter the cell. And the essential oil molecules basically help the cell to turn on and do the job that it might be a little confused about, or it might just be tired, or it might be turned off. If you know anything about epigenetics, we have the capacity to change the way our DNA expresses based on our lifestyle. So what we're eating, how we're managing stress, the environment that we're in, the people that we interact with, that all has an influence on the way our genes express. And essential oils can help to influence the way that our genes express. So it's a really powerful way. You put an oil on your third eye chakra, and it's actually going to absorb through the skin into the bloodstream. So you can use essential oils locally. If you're dealing with a specific issue that is uncomfortable, you can apply oils topically. If you are dealing with a mental health issue, smelling an oil is the fastest way to affect the brain. Within 22 seconds, you can have a chemical reaction in the brain. It's a very, very powerful way of creating that response. And so when you're dealing with any sort of hormonal imbalance, if you have a sense of what is out of balance, you can be using essential oils specifically on these gland areas. Now, if you are sensitive to a smell, or your skin is really sensitive, your feet are a map of your organ system. So you can always be massaging essential oils into the part of your foot that links up to that specific organ or gland. So it's really amazing. I totally nerd out on all of this. If you need some guidance on, okay, which glands do I need to focus on? Which oils are right for which glands? Which parts of my feet am I meant to massage these oils into? I know it can be a lot of information. That's where I can come in. I can support you in creating that plan for yourself. So don't hesitate to reach out to me if you do need more specific direction. So, so keep in mind that yes, estrogen and progesterone and testosterone are very important, but they are interacting with all of the other organs and all of the other hormones in our body. So if anything is out of whack, it can affect the other hormones in our body. So especially insulin, glucagon, those are primary hormones that can throw off our metabolism and throw off our hormonal balance. And I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about how to create some balance there as well. Xenoestrogens. Anybody heard of xenoestrogens? I think of Xena Warrior Princess every time I hear xenoestrogens. I'm dating myself if you know who Xena Warrior Princess is. So xeno means foreign. And so it literally means a foreign estrogen. It basically comes into the body and acts like an estrogen, and then it throws off all of the other hormones. So xenoestrogens are also known as environmental hormones or endocrine disrupting compounds. They're widely used in industrial compounds such as BCP or BPA, you know, pretty much all plastics. You'll see now a lot of plastics will say BPA free because it's shown scientifically that BPA, it acts like a xenoestrogen and messes up hormones. Who knows what other chemicals they're putting in the plastic that have not had enough research to know if they're good, they're dangerous or not. So it's best to avoid plastic if you can, because you know xenoestrogens are serious environmental hazards, so they can affect wildlife and humans. So we want to try to avoid those as much as we possibly can. So they act as false messengers and they disrupt the process of our reproductive system. It can increase the growth of the endometrium, so it can increase the risk of endometriosis. It also can influence the way cancer expresses in the body. So xenoestrogens are not our friend. And it also is possible to avoid them in a very large way. I think if you grew up in the 70s and 80s and even the 90s, there was not a lot of understanding about what you put in your body and how it could affect how you felt. So I think there's a collective waking up in the last couple of decades because people do not feel good. We're living longer, but we're not living happier or healthier. And this is one very simple way to influence how you feel. So what do? There's a lot. That's a lot. And it can be a little scary because, you know, we don't have to go around fearing everything, because a lot of our perspective on things can influence how our body takes in information. But you can just at least be informed to know where xenoestrogens are found. They're kind of everywhere. They're in your tap water. So if you can use purifiers, that's ideal. If you can find a way to put purifiers in your shower head or in your bathtub, that will help. Pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, including glyphosate, that's all found in conventional food. So there have been studies that compare conventional oatmeal with organic oatmeal, and the amount of glyphosate in conventional oatmeal is like off the charts. So if you can just spend a couple more bucks and buy the organic oatmeal, it can have a long-term huge impact in a good way on your health by moving to organic foods. It's sad that organic food has to be more expensive. It's just such a marketing gimmick, in my opinion. There is a little bit more that has to go into maintaining organic farms and organic produce, and there's a little bit more regulation around how things are produced to make sure they stay organic in the production process. But it's worth spending that little extra money to make sure that you're managing your health in the best way you can. Cleaning products. This is an area where a lot of people don't realize how fast a cleaning product can throw off your hormones. Because remember how I talked about within 22 seconds of smelling something, it has a chemical reaction in your brain. Anything you're using to clean around your house within seconds is interacting in your brain. So if that cleaning product has xenoestrogen components in it, that can throw off your hormones pretty badly, because it's, you know, it's going in your olfactory system, but it's also going into your bloodstream. So those aromatic molecules and particles are going in your nose and into your bloodstream. So anything you're putting on your body or around you in your environment could be negatively affecting how you feel. So if you haven't made the switch to natural cleaning products, highly recommend doing that. It can also really benefit allergies, headaches, mood imbalances, brain fog. So I would say, if you haven't done that yet, that's a really easy, quick thing to do. A lot of people, my dad included, is a little bit curmudgeonly when it comes to changing cleaning products because he likes what he likes. It works. But my mom has slowly shifting him over into more natural options, especially just with hand wash, laundry detergent, hand lotion. Those things are kind of easier to start to switch over, and then you just eventually suddenly you're like, oh, these are all new. And if you get the right kind of cleaning products, they work actually even better than some of the non-organic ones. Okay, we talked about plastics. Use glass Tupperware whenever possible. Canned foods they're saying now they're making the canned foods without BPA, but if you can avoid canned foods as much as possible, unless they're properly sealed, because aluminum is so easily recyclable. It's much more recyclable than plastic. I think there's like 3 to 6% of plastic gets recycled, whereas like 60 to 70% of aluminum gets recycled. You just want to make sure that anything that you're using in aluminum is properly sealed without any of those chemicals in the sealant. Okay, dental sealants. We know mercury obviously is no good, but there are also other kinds of sealants that could be unfavorable. So if you can go to a biochemically friendly dentist, that's ideal. I know they don't exist everywhere, but just keep in mind that your dentist, when they're using the numbing agents in your mouth, it's all synthetic clove oil. Receipts. So those paper receipts that you get, they have a lot of crap in them, a lot of chemicals in them. So whenever possible, get an electronic receipt. Air and dust. I live in Los Angeles. A lot of you live in Los Angeles. Our air isn't great. So having a diffuser in the home can be really supportive. If you're diffusing high grade essential oils, then that's a way to purify the air. Now, the grade of essential oil makes a big difference, because if you're using something that you just get at the health food store, you could be actually putting more xenoestrogens into your atmosphere if that oil is cut with any sort of chemical, filler, preservative. You want to make sure that you're getting the highest quality oil, because you could be doing more damage to yourself, even though the oil might smell good. It might even say organic on the bottle. There is really no regulation in the essential oil industry. So you want to make sure that you're using a tested grade, and not just one kind of testing, which is, they call it organoleptic, which is basically just like, oh, that smells like peppermint oil. That's it, a smell test. That's organoleptic. It sounds fancy, but not really doing much. You want to make sure that the company is doing multiple tests, that they're sharing the tests online, so you can see that the oil is actually as pure as they claim that it is. Air fresheners, any of those plugins, throw them out. You might see articles online like essential oils hurt my pet. It's usually those air fresheners, those essential oil air fresheners that you plug into the wall. Anytime a pet is negatively affected, it's usually low quality oil, or they're using way too much oil, either topically or in a diffuser. So if you're curious, if you have a pet and you're curious to learn more about safety with pets, I recommend Googling Janet Roark, ROARKE, Janet Roark. She's the essential oil vet. She has a lot of great information on how to use oil safely and effectively with pets. And then your laundry products, your detergents, fabric softeners, dryer sheets, all of that, you can have xenoestrogens in there. And there's more. Your hair dyes, your nail polish, your beauty products, personal care products, perfume. We wonder why, like, so much thyroid stuff going on. And it's probably decades of spraying perfume right on our thyroids. Perfume is some of the biggest culprits of xenoestrogens. Our sunscreen, birth control pills, medical devices, toys, lots of plastic toys, building materials. So, okay, a lot of places. What's one area that you could make a shift right now? And put that in the chat. Where is an area in your life that you're using a product where you could very easily switch to a better, safer quality product? Anyone want to share that in the chat? I'd be curious to know. I have made the switch for pretty much everything over the last 2 decades. There's really not much I have that isn't safe, and some natural isn't always what it seems, but safe and non-toxic. Non-toxic is even more important than natural because there's not a lot of regulation in the natural industry. So you have to be careful because a lot of people can say natural when there's tons of toxic ingredients in the products. So what are you going to shift? What are you going to swap out? You stopped coloring and perming your hair. Yep, that's great. Yeah, that's definitely one area. I mean, that's going right into your brain too. So anything you're putting on your scalp is getting directly absorbed into the brain. So how to avoid xenoestrogens. We talked about a lot of these. Replacing your bedding to more organic bedding. You can use infrared saunas. That's a great way to kind of use the red light therapy and also to sweat out any toxins that might be stuck in your cells. If you're going to do infrared saunas, I recommend also doing colonics if you can, drinking lots of water, doing essential oil massages on your skin after you do the infrared sauna, just to help the toxins purge out of your body and not just gets absorbed right back into your skin. So keep these in mind as you are making some of those swaps. So who here is familiar with doTERRA specifically? Let me know in the chat if you've used doTERRA before, if you're familiar with doTERRA, what your experience has been. A lot of folks are brand new. Some people have had experience. Some people have doTERRA products at home. So just let me know where you're at so I know how much detail to go into around their safety and purity and how they source their products. I will say supplementation is a non-negotiable. At this point, where we are in our industrial society, we have to supplement. Our soil is so depleted of nutrients. You have to eat 50 apples today to equal the nutritional equivalent of 1 apple 50 years ago. So even if you do eat a perfect diet, it's almost impossible to get all of your nutrients from food. It's really important to get digestive enzymes from food. And unless you're harvesting raw fruits and vegetables in your backyard that are falling off the tree or you're picking when they're fully ripe and ready to be picked, you're not getting enough digestive enzymes, which can lead to gas, bloating, indigestion. So it's really important to supplement with something that is also bioavailable. Tammy's going to switch laundry detergents, moving to glass, Tupperware, and diffusing. Yeah, that's great. Those are great options. Because laundry detergent, people don't think about it, but then you're wearing those clothes all day. You're sweating in those clothes. The clothes are sometimes really tight on your body. So any of the chemicals that are on the clothes are getting absorbed into your skin, and then they could be interfering with the way your hormones are expressing or circulating in your body. So this Lifelong Vitality pack I love, and I will tell you I did not love it when I first learned about it because I didn't believe in supplements. I was a health coach for probably about 15 years before I even recommended supplements to my clients. Tammy only uses doTERRA. Awesome. So the reason I didn't like supplements is because I felt like you should be able to get everything that you needed from food. And I had also tried supplements for years and felt like I was just throwing my money in the trash can because I never got the results that I was looking for. I would get a bad taste in my mouth. My urine would be bright yellow. It just never really made a difference. I was dealing with very severe acne in my 30s. I had been on birth control. I came off of birth control. My body exploded. I had acne all over my face, all over my chest, all over my back. No herbs that I tried worked. No supplements that I tried worked. And I really felt like, it felt like a dead end, really. So when a friend of mine she was dealing with a number of autoimmune issues, her doctor basically prescribed her essential oils and doTERRA supplements. And I saw her have a complete transformation in the way that she looked and the way that she felt. She had been on about 18 medications. And with the help of her doctor, she came off of 16 of them because she added in all of these things that her body, this supplementation that her body was missing. Her body was just basically missing the nutrition that she needed to function properly. So she convinced me to try these supplements and I bought them. And guess what? I returned them in 3 days. And she yelled at me. She's a little scary. She's a lovely person, but she's one of those people where you're like, oh, I better not cross her. I might get in trouble. And I did. I totally got in trouble. So, she basically said, Amanda, you're a health coach. Don't you tell people that things take time. It's not like prescription drugs or even an over-the-counter drug where you can get a very fast result, but then you might have a side effect. This is something where you might have to do it consistently for a period of a month or 2 months, 3 months, maybe even 6 months or a year before you have the full result that you're looking for. So can you just try them for 30 days and then let me know what you think? So I agreed very begrudgingly. And it was about 3 weeks in when I noticed my energy shifted. And I was like, all right, I guess we'll keep going. And I got another pack of them. And then I started to add in some cleansing components to what I was doing. I was putting lemon oil in my water. I was taking an oil called Zendocrine, and I was taking this Lifelong Vitality pack, which has an omega, it has an antioxidant, and then it has a multivitamin in there. And it was after 60 days that I had people at my office stopping me like, what did you do to your face? It's like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, did you get a face peel? Like, your acne is clearing up. And I was like, yeah, I've been taking these supplements and I am very frustrated that I now need to buy these every month. But I was buying all these herbs and things that, for years, I must have spent tens of thousands of dollars, literally, on Chinese herbs, Indian herbs, going to practitioners, like all the doctors I went to see, all the blood tests and blood work, all the things I had done. And I started integrating these supplements along with my essential oils, and I was already eating pretty healthy. So it was like I said earlier, it was that missing link that elevated my health. So if you are taking supplements, you want to make sure that they are bioavailable, meaning your cells can use the nutrition. If they're not, if the supplement you're buying is an over-the-counter, or even if it's an organic supplement, a lot of times the way that the nutrients are produced to be put into the supplement are actually not bioavailable. They're not the right form of the vitamin, or they're not harvested and manufactured in a way that your body can use. So you want to make sure that they come from food and that they're bioavailable. Otherwise, you're kind of throwing your money away. Now, what's cool about this pack is that if you try them and you don't notice a difference in 30 days, you can get your money back. But I think I'm probably the only person I know that returned them. If you've used this pack, let us know what your experience is in the comments. I'd be curious to hear. But just having the right levels of omegas, which is 3,6,9 fatty acids, along with the vitamins and the antioxidants, like green tea extract, ashwagandha, all of those are really critical for hormone balancing and energy levels. Get that all in this one pack. So if you're taking all these individual supplements, you can put those aside and you're getting everything pretty much you need in a day in this pack. And there may be some specific things you'd want to add on depending on what you're working on in your health, but this is your foundational nutrition. So if you've used this Lifelong Vitality Pack, let us know what benefits you've experienced. If you have any questions about this, also feel free to put that in the chat. This phytoestrogen complex. So where we have those xenoestrogens, this is almost like an estrogen therapy. It's not actually estrogen, but it helps to balance not only a deficiency in estrogen, but also helps to release any excess harmful estrogen. So it metabolizes those xenoestrogens. So you can minimize any sort of unwanted symptoms that are associated with your cycle. Or if you're postmenopausal, this particular supplement is ideal for peri, and menopausal and postmenopausal women. So it's a fermented soy extract. I know that some folks are sensitive to soy, but when it's fermented in this way, unless you're like deathly allergic to soy, when it's fermented like this, your body can actually process it. Whereas most soy in its raw form is not really digestible and easily metabolized by the body. But when it's fermented in this way, you can actually use it to support your estrogen production and help the body rid itself of xenoestrogens. Rose oil. So rose oil is such a powerful hormone balancer. It's also the highest frequency essential oil that we have available on the planet. There's a reason that people give roses at Valentine's Day, because they vibrate at such a high level, and the energy, the emotion of love vibrates at an extremely high level. So when you give roses, it basically emulates that feeling and that energy of love. So if you're looking to create more balance in your body and you want to create more of that love energy in your body and raise the vibration of your cellular structure, you can use rose oil. You can roll it over the heart. It also boosts libido. It helps promote openness and confidence. You can also apply it to your lower abdomen if you are wanting to promote regular ovulation, if you need relief from any sort of symptoms or discomfort. Also really great for the skin, very anti-aging for the skin. You can use an oil called Clary Calm. This is one of my favorite oils. I absolutely am obsessed with the smell. I could just sit here and like huff the oil all day long. It has a component in it called Vitex, which is chasteberry, and that is clinically proven to help regulate and balance women's hormones. So the where you would apply this is on the inside of your ankle. So if you feel your ankle, it's that little bone on the inside, right in the fleshy soft part between the bone and the back and your Achilles heel. There's that fleshy part there. That's the ideal place to apply Clary Calm. That's the meridian point for female hormones. And then you can also apply it around the belly button and on the abdomen. You can put it on your wrists. I like to put it on the inside of my elbow creases, on my I like to put it everywhere, really. I just think it smells so good. I use it as a natural pure fume. And this is an oil that you want to use consistently throughout the month, not just necessarily, the week before you're getting your cycle or only when symptoms arise. This is a way, it's a, prophylactic measure to help reduce unwanted symptoms. All right, osteoporosis. This is kind of like a scary word. I remember hearing about osteoporosis when I was younger, and I was like, I don't want that disease. And the thing is, unless we really take action now to enhance and solidify our bone health, there's just going to be a slow decline over time. Thanks for joining. If you're here, I appreciate you. We're talking about osteoporosis. So table talk. So yeah, osteoporosis is definitely something that can be prevented. And you'll see this decline over time. The bone mass it basically just gets almost like Swiss cheese, really Swiss cheesy. Normally there is a little bit of permeability, but when there's osteoporosis, there's a huge amount of permeability. So we want to decrease that permeability and add back into the bone structure so that it stays supple and does not start to become brittle over time. So risk factors. Females are at higher risk, so we do need to take more measures. Some of these, smoking, medications can affect osteoporosis. And we don't really notice the symptoms until we get a fracture. So even if you're like, I feel fine, my bones seem fine, it is not something you'll really know. So it's better to take precautionary measures rather than falling at some point and finding out the hard way. 1 in 3 women over the age of 50 will experience an osteoporotic fracture in their lifetime. So let's not wait to find out. It's like kind of playing Russian roulette. Really, it's about a healthy lifestyle. You have power over what happens with your body. This is not a sentence. Even if your grandmother, mother, aunt, whatever, someone in your life who you're related to has had issues with osteoporosis, it does not mean that you have to follow in those footsteps. So obviously cardiovascular, walking is ideal. I don't recommend high intensity, long sustained high intensity cardiovascular exercises because that can spike cortisol, which then affects insulin and adrenaline, and can then throw off all your hormones. So I don't recommend like hardcore, what is that called? Like HIIT training for like an hour and a half or something. That's just way too much on the body. Ideally, walking and strength training are the two exercises that will support you the most without creating too much of a high impact on your body. Nutrition, what you eat is like the #1 thing you can do. They say that when, if you are looking to lose weight, it's 90% nutrition and 10% exercise that will affect how you feel. So I know a lot of us have a very emotional relationship to food, and it may not be very easy to make changes in what we're eating. And if that's the case, I do recommend adding healthy things in rather than taking things out and restricting yourself. Because the human brain, the minute it hears I can't have something, it wants that thing. That could be an unhealthy relationship. That could be a cookie, a piece of chocolate, or it could be a bag of chips, whatever that manifests for you specifically. But I know if I'm told no, I'm like, oh, really? Well, I'm going to do whatever I want and I'm going to have or eat or acquire that thing. So I don't recommend restriction. I do recommend adding in healthy habits. It's a cognitive behavioral therapy technique called crowding out. So you add in so many healthy things that there's really no space for some of the unhealthier habits. So supplementation is a great way, because if you're getting the right nutrition, a lot of times your cravings go away. And if your mood is better, you might not reach for that thing that doesn't make you feel so good. So if we're craving salt, a lot of times we don't have enough minerals in our body. If we're craving sugar, a lot of times we're not getting enough water in our body. So those are two ways to stave off cravings, is adding in more nutrients, adding in more vitamins and minerals in a bioavailable way that your body can use. Because if it's not bioavailable and you're taking a lot of nutrients and supplements and you're eating healthy food, but your body's not breaking it down properly, you're still going to have the cravings, because your body is looking for salt or something to help give it that feeling of satiety, of feeling I have all the nutrients I need in my body. And if you're getting those sugar cravings, you need to hydrate, but you need to make sure that your cells are actually taking in the H2O, and you're not just drinking the water and you're just peeing it out immediately. So adding trace minerals to your water, adding essential oils to your water, eating water containing fruits and vegetables, taking digestive enzymes, all of those things will help to support this. Tammy says, too much to say, slow at texting. Okay, her experience with the Lifelong Vitality Pack was gradual. It's hard to pinpoint when the changes started, but the changes were major, positive and life-changing. And the changes that Tammy experienced, I think you had less brain fog, right, Tammy? That was one of the biggest ones. What other changes did you experience? So proper nutrition, eating more water containing foods, like I mentioned, romaine lettuce, celery, cucumber, watermelon, any fruits and vegetables that have a lot of water content will help with hydration. If you don't love water, that can be a big issue, and that could be one of the reasons why you're not hydrating well. But if you're drinking any sort of coffee in the day, you have to increase your water intake. And the best way to do that is through, you could do juices, you could do smoothies, you could be eating some of these foods if you also need the fiber in your diet. And then additionally, to support your bones, there is a bone nutrient. This is bioavailable nutrition for men and women. Anyone at any age can take this. It just helps to support any potential weak or fragile bones and bone fractures. So I would say take this early on so that you're not dealing with issues moving forward. Now here's a picture of all of the primary organs and glands that disperse most of the hormones that tend to create a little bit of disarray in the body. So I'm going to go through each of these in a little bit more detail. So caring for your liver. Liver function is really the underpinning of hormone balance. And if you are dealing with overtoxicity in your body, oftentimes it can lead to a sluggish liver, because your liver, it's almost, imagine like a conveyor belt. And like you have a box that comes out that you need to put a top on. And then there's another box that comes in. And then suddenly the conveyor belt just starts like spitting out all these boxes. And suddenly you can't keep track of all the tops that you have to put on the boxes. And suddenly you just have a big pile of boxes in front of you, no tops on it. And that's sort of how your liver feels. The more toxic load that comes into the body, the liver's trying to like process it and get it out and get it out of your urine or your bowels. Through your bowel movements, and it can't work fast enough. So then it just gets overloaded, and there's just a toxic overload in the liver, and then you end up having a sluggish liver, which can result in more issues. So drinking water helps the liver to process those toxins. There's an oil called MetaPower that has essential oils in there that are clinically shown to support the process of toxicity in the body, and also help you balance blood sugar and blood sugar spikes. You can put any sort of citrus in water, really. Citrus is really supportive for cleansing the system. And then this Zendocrine soft gel, this is specifically for balancing hormones in your endocrine system. It creates zen or harmony and homeostasis with the endocrine system. So this is something that you can take daily to support with your liver function. Caring for your pancreas is also really important because that manages blood sugar. And if you know anything about, the menopausal middle or just the ups and downs of your mood, that can become more intense over time because of blood sugar dysregulation. So there is a new product line that doTERRA just released called MetaPower that helps to support the blood sugar regulation in the body so that we're not having these big highs and lows. Like Tammy mentioned earlier, some of what she's dealing with might be connected to blood sugar dysregulation. And so we have to support the pancreas in properly regulating our blood sugar. And there are soft gels that are being released. There's a satiety gum, and there's also a collagen product that are going to work together synergistically to help inhibit fat cell maturation, curb cravings, support metabolic health, and just overall help to support with blood sugar regulation. Caring for your adrenals. So does anybody have the issue where they drag all day and then suddenly when they go to bed and they lay down and their head hits the pillow, they're wide awake and they're just staring at the wall for hours until maybe like 4 or 5 in the morning, they fall asleep. They have to get up at 7 or 8 and then they do it all over, exhausted all day and then just wired at night. Adrenals. This could be a result of adrenal fatigue. So magnolia is an oil that helps to support adrenals. I also like the combination of basil and geranium. That is a great combination that you can just mix together in a roller bottle like this and then apply it to the adrenals. The adrenals sit on top of the kidneys. And if you're trying to find where that is on your back, it's basically like right below the lowest rib. If you were to make a roller bottle and have that by your bedside table, you can massage that on your adrenal glands before you go to sleep, or even maybe like 30 to 45 minutes before you're ready to close your eyes and go to sleep. You can also take these Mito2 Max capsules. They are designed for energy and stamina, and they are caffeine free. So if you are using coffee as a crutch, especially in the afternoon, and if you want to reduce your caffeine intake, or if you just want to balance things out, like you're not giving up your coffee, but you want to balance things out, I recommend this Mito2 Max. It works with the mitochondria, which is the structure in your cell that's responsible for managing energy. So Tammy says depression, chronic fatigue, and sadness, lack of motivation, eating certain things all caused all kinds of stomach issues, cotton brain, doughy face. And now, other than battling allergies, that's all gone. And that's from her incorporating the Lifelong Vitality Pack and the other essential oils. She sometimes battles with the sleep issue, so it could be adrenals. Yep. So you can take, I think the recommended dosage of Mito2 Max is 2 a day. I recommend taking it in, sometime before 2 p.m. because it could give you too much energy in the latter part of the day. And I do recommend taking it with food. Because when you take supplements with food, you're getting all of the other vitamins and minerals that's necessary to process the supplements that you're taking. Especially if something is fat soluble, take it with food. If you're having any imbalances with your thyroid, like I said earlier, not a life sentence. Your habits are critically important. Check your nutrition, your stress levels, your water supply, and you can make a roller. So you can take a roller like this, add 10 drops each of clove, myrrh, lemongrass, and frankincense. Top it off with some fractionated coconut oil. That's this. It's a carrier oil that's odorless, colorless, hypoallergenic. It blends into the skin really easily, so it doesn't leave that greasy layer. And you can just roll that over the thyroid as often as you want throughout the day, minimum 2 to 3 times a day. So in the morning and at night. But you can put it by your computer. So if you're working at your computer, anytime you think of it, you could just roll it over your thyroid. You can't really overdo it when you're applying things topically, as long as it's properly diluted. So this you can get together as a little kit, the Clarical, the Bone Nutrient, and the phytoestrogen. They do work together synergistically. So it's ideal that if you are trying to manage some post menopausal symptoms, then I would recommend taking these together. If you are in, not even close to menopause, I would focus on the Clary Calm and the bone nutrient. The phytoestrogen is more, I would say, in that late 30s, early 40s range. Yarrow Palm. Okay, let me, has anyone used this product? I am obsessed with this. So I'm going to turn 43 next year, and I feel like there's not going to be a day that goes by that I don't use these. I've been taking the Yarrow Palm capsules. I was taking them at night, and I found that they kept me awake. So if you have been taking them at night and noticed that, I would take them in the morning. I take them with breakfast and my first dose of my Lifelong Vitality Pack. I have found that my skin is just glowier, and I've noticed that the little fine lines are more supple. Like there's just more suppleness in my skin, and I have more of like a natural dewy glow. I use this body renewal on my skin, on my body, after I come out of the shower while my skin's still wet. I take a couple of pumps and I massage it into my skin there, and I feel like my arms that are normally usually very dry, and my elbows that usually are kind of like scaly, everything is really soft. It's like baby butt. And then the Yarrow Palm Nutritive Duo you can take under your tongue, and you can also massage it into your face. I like to use my gua sha at night, and I will I'll cleanse my face. I'll put a toner on, spritz that on, put a couple of drops of Yarrow Palm on my face and kind of like pat it in. And then I'll use my gua sha tool to create some contouring along my jaw and just help to lift my face. It's such a beautiful self-care moment too. It feels so good. It helps to relieve stress. I find that when I do that, I sleep better. And even though, if you're putting it on your face, it's specifically absorbing into the skin on your face, it's still going into your bloodstream. And the yarrow oil and the pomegranate carrier combined really help to balance female hormones. So this is a system that I also recommend. And I do this in addition to the Clary Calm and the other supplementation that I mentioned. Tammy, which thing did you buy but you haven't incorporated? Is that the Max, or is that something else? I'm curious. All right, breast detox massage. I recommend this for every woman. Even men could do this, honestly. But at least I would say, I guess, 4 times a year, once a season for 30 days. So that you would do this 4 times a year for 30 days. Massage these oils, 4 drops of each oil, into the breast area for a good, I would say like, if you can do at least 60 seconds, if you can do it longer, I would do it after you come out of the shower. And that's, your skin sometimes it can be a little tender after the shower. Essential oils are a little stronger, so you might have to wait a little bit until your skin is not quite so raw from the shower. But you could even do it at night if that's better for you. But I would massage it into the breast area and underarms, all the tissue around here, as a regular breast detoxification process. Because what happens with breast cancer is the lymphatic system gets clogged up. And so when you're massaging the area, you're opening up the lymph, which is meant to carry the toxins out of your bloodstream. So I definitely recommend making this a regular practice. Okay, Tammy, you got the Yarrow Palm set. I see. Yeah, if you want to ask me some questions about how to use that, I'm happy to help you integrate it. But I basically just put the Yarrow Palm body renewal serum and the oil in the bathroom, and then I'll put Yarrow Palm under my tongue at night. And I'll put the body renewal serum on my body after I take a shower, and then I use the Yarrow Palm at night. The Yarrow Palm is blue, which is why I don't use it in the morning, because it leaves a little bit of a blue tint, but it absorbs into your skin, so you're not going to be like a Smurf. But I like to use that as my nighttime overnight serum. Symphony of the Cells is a technique that you can use. Anybody can do it. You do not have to be a massage therapist. You can do this on yourself. You could have someone in your home do this on you. But this is the hormonal balancing protocol. And basically, these little pictures show you how to apply the oil. So the frankincense they're recommending to apply, it looks like on the back of the neck. Then you would smell it, and then you would apply it on the bottoms of your feet. And then you would apply a carrier oil, which is the fractionated coconut oil. And then you would do each of these oils in succession. So you would put a drop of thyme oil, rub that down the back, smell it, rub it on the bottoms of your feet. Ginger oil down the back, smell it, put it on the bottoms of your feet. And the sequence of these oils stimulates the brain, the part of the brain, the limbic system, to start to fire off the neurons that help the rest of the organs in the body say, oh, I'm waking up. I'm getting rid of toxins here. Oh, I'm firing these neurons here. Oh, I'm activating cell receptors here. It is very therapeutic. It feels good. You smell like a spa afterwards. So it's just a great way to create flow in your body. And if you don't have someone to do this for you, you can just smell it and put it on your feet. You can't access your spine. Just smelling it and putting it on your feet is a great way to do this. So this is something you could do daily, you could do it weekly, you could do it once a month, but I highly recommend it, again, because it works on the lymphatic system, and it just helps to just purify and create flow in the system. So you're breaking up any stuck energy that might be in your body. All right. Okay, so any final questions that you might have on hormones, how essential oils interact with the body, anything else that you feel like you need to get answered? If you do not already have a doTERRA membership and you would like one, and you would like to work with me on a 90-day plan, please pop a comment, excuse me, pop a comment in the chat. You can message me privately, or if you prefer, you can text me so that I have your number and we can interact that way. I'll pop my number in the chat as well. My number is 917-687-5255. My email address is amanda@realessentialalchemy.com. So you can contact me. And when you are working with me and with your doTERRA oils, you get my coaching for free. I normally charge somewhere between $150 to $200 an hour for my coaching services, but you get that for free when you are working with doTERRA and you have a membership with me. So if you want to know more about what that might look like, what oils to get, because I covered a lot of oils and you don't have to start with all of them. There may be a specific combination of oils that would best serve you based on what you're working on in your health. Like if you're working on hot flashes, a lot of the menthol containing oils would be supportive for you, along with some of the hormonal balancing oils that I mentioned. If you're dealing with mental health, you really want to focus on diffusion and creating diffuser combinations that you can use throughout the day, plus supplementation. So it might look a little different for each person. So send me a message if you would like to have a private consultation so I can walk you through what that could look like and you can decide if this is the right path for you. So shoot me a note and I'm happy to help you. If you don't have all the oils for Symphony of the Cells, use what you have. Use what you have, and then you can work on building your collection. Getting some oils on you and working on massaging your body is better than nothing, but you're going to get the ideal results if you can do it in this sequence. But start with something, even if it's just frankincense. Thank you for being here. Thanks, I appreciate you. I am going to do a little raffle, so if you can stay, stick around for 2 seconds. I'm going to put everybody's name into a random name picker, and I'm giving away some fun products. So if you want to pop in the chat what your #1 takeaway is, as I'm picking names, I would love to hear what your #1 takeaway was from this class. What's something that you feel you can integrate into your lifestyle right away? Let me know. And anyone watching, I appreciate you being here. I'm going to stop the recording now, but please reach out to me if you are watching this and you need more guidance and you need more coaching on where to start. I'm happy to support you with that.